In order to make the NBA, you have to be good at literally every aspect of basketball. Passing, defense, athleticism, decision making, you name it. Only a tiny fraction of players in the world would even get there. But here's the thing, being good isn't the same as being exceptional. Most guys enter the league only being exceptional in a few areas, and it takes years of work to sharpen the rest. So what's the most important skill, you might ask? Shooting. Because in today's NBA, if you're not exceptional at shooting, your career might not last long.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot!
Dirk with a rock. Finds Durant, raising up for the win.
Kenny looking inside. The pass, jump shot is up. It's good. 1.8 remaining. Kills Alex.
Shooting didn't matter as much back then, especially if you were a big man. Shaquille O'Neal, one of the most dominant players ever, couldn't even hit free throws despite the rim being at his eye level. Bob Cousy made multiple All-NBA first teams and even won MVP with shooting numbers that looked like a regular LA Fitness hooper, like me. So if shooting wasn't that big of a deal back then, why has it become the factor that decides whether an NBA player thrives or not today? From a team's perspective, having shooters at every position, especially center, can completely change the offense. Guards today run endless pick and rolls with bigs. But if your center is a Rudy Gobert type of center, defenders can just sag off, clock the paint, and block the playmaker's vision. On the other hand, if your big is a shooter like Embiid or Brook Lopez, the defender has to respect the jumper, which opens up driving lanes and passing options. And it's the same story with guards. If your point guard can't shoot, defenses simply back off and collapse on everybody else. Teams today take nearly 10 times more 3 per game than they did in the 80s. Don't believe me? Just put in the Celtics game from last season. They basically ran the same play every possession, and it always ended in a 3. Honestly, it's a great substitute for melatonin if you're having trouble falling asleep. Boring or not, it worked. They live and die by the 3, and probably would have made the finals again if Tatum didn't get hurt. The numbers don't lie. Teams that can hit 3s efficiently are far more likely to succeed, both in the regular season and the playoffs. The NBA is an entertainment business, so of course the league promotes athleticism. Just look at their social media. Dunk highlights get way more views than anything else, and 2 of the 3 pinned videos on their Instagram are dunk reels. But here's the problem. Athleticism is the least reliable skill for longevity. Age, injuries, and wear and tear can take it away in an instant. Take Russell Westbrook for example. He came into the league as one of the most explosive players ever. Nobody could stay in front of him, and he dominated in transition.
Can't get that three-pointer to go down. He is 1 out of 7 from beyond the arc, 3 for 10 overall. Westbrook in transition.
It in, and they finally do Westbrook all the way to the basket. And the bucket. Russell Westbrook.
He was also a good playmaker and a solid defender. But because his shooting never caught up, he didn't age as gracefully as peers like Harden, Kawhi, or Curry, who could all rely on their jumper. Well, maybe not in Game 7 for Harden. Or look at Derrick Rose, drafted the same year as Russ, MVP in his 3rd season, but after the injuries, he never had a consistent 3-point shot to fall back on. And without that, he didn't have anything else to offer, so his name started fading away as years went by. Other players like Blake Griffin, John Wall, and Ben Simmons also fell short of their expectations because of the lack of a consistent jumper. Obviously, I'm sure all of these players did put in a lot of work on their shots except for Ben Simmons, yet they still weren't able to throw the ball through the hoop efficiently. So is it just about work ethic, or is it a mental thing as well? When Giannis first came into the league, all he could do was run and dunk.
But I wish I could just run and with 7 feet and run and just dunk. Like that takes no skill at all.
He did not have anything else to offer outside of his freakish athleticism, and his journey wasn't just sunshine and rainbows too. Even after winning multiple MVPs and a Finals MVP, people were still clowning him for his broken jumper and his resemblance to Shaq at the free throw line. But here's the difference. Giannis never got complacent. He kept working, and this past season, the numbers proved it. From 10 to 20 feet, he was one of the best mid-range shooters in the league, right up there with guys like KD, Shea, and DeRozan. When you're constantly under the spotlight like Giannis, haters are inevitable. The real question is how you deal with it. Some players let the criticism break their confidence. Others, like Giannis, tune it out and keep grinding. However, the opposite can also destroy you. If you're not constantly in the spotlight, it's easy to fly under the radar and not improve. Lonzo Ball didn't get a lot of attention after his tenure with the Lakers. He doesn't do flashy stuff on the court, and is often overshadowed by his little brother. He could have just coasted in a small market team like New Orleans or the Bulls, sticking to the skills he already had. But Zoe was eager to become a better player. He admitted his jumper was inefficient and spent an entire summer refining it. The result? He went from shooting like me from behind the arc to becoming one of the best spot-up shooters in the league when he was with the Bulls. The NBA has become more versatile than ever. It's all about spacing and statistics, not just aesthetics and flashy highlights. Even centers now have to develop a three-point shot or a reliable mid-range jumper to stretch the floor and make life easier for their teammates. Look at players like Wemby, Jaren Jackson Jr., Embiid, and Jokic. They're proving that size alone isn't enough anymore. If centers are required to shoot the rock, imagine what happens to undersized guards who can't. If you're a pass-first point guard with a broken jumper, you're cooked. In 5 years, you won't be running pick and rolls in the playoffs anymore. You'll probably be running the register at McDonald's. And this isn't just theory, it's the harsh reality that the league is enforcing right now. Shooting is probably the first thing that comes to mind when it comes to basketball, and it has become a non-negotiable in today's NBA. Developing a consistent jumper isn't easy. It takes work ethic, but also the right mindset. At the end of the day, shooting is the most transferable and adaptable skill to possess. It doesn't matter what team you're on, what system you're running, what high school you're in. Never mind. The bottom line is, every team needs and wants good shooters. Do you also think that this is the most important skill to be exceptional at in order to make the NBA, or do you think it's something else? Let me know in the comments down below. That's all for today. I'll catch you next time.